I bet he's sweet on them. Let's take a look at Chrysler here, for example. In the proposed bankruptcy deal, the banks, which are the first in line, they have secured credit, they'd get $2 billion, 29 cents on the dollar. Daimler owed $2 billion. They get zero. Taxpayer, $4.3 billion. Yeah, I get nuts. And the unions were owed $10.6 billion. They're going to get 43 cents on the dollar and an equity stake. This is the best deal by far. The Democrats know the unions need to be rebuilt, re-strengthened, and revitalized. They need the union donations and community organizers to keep the Democrats in office. The auto unions need the Democrats in office to get their money, and maybe even more members. That number has been dropping from 1.5 million 30 years ago to about 430,000 today. So where does this leave you? What do you get out of this as the taxpayer? Where's the transparency that we've been promised? It ain't in Washington. Tonight, the transparency's right here. Let me show you. This is what the unions got. The unions were owed $6.5 billion. When they restructured, they got 4.6, a note, at 9% interest. Who's getting 9% interest? They also got $600 million in legacy costs from Daimler. They got 55% of the auto industry. They got 55% of Chrysler. 55%. Have they ever run a business before? I know they've run a lot of them into the ground. Do the unions have any experience in the free market system? 55%. Plus, they get to elect one of the directors of the board. There are 9 of them. They get 1. Short story here. Here's where we are. We were owed $4 billion just in the TARP money. This is the money we gave. Remember, they said, oh, we're going to make so much money on this. This is going to be raining money from heaven. It's going to be such a great investment. How much of that did we get? 0. Plus, we were owed $300 million in fees. How much did we get? 0. But here's where it gets super for you. When they get into the bankruptcy thing, sure, they owed us $4 billion in the TARP money, but in this deal, we get to give them $3.2 billion. Who made this deal for us? We get to give them $3.2 billion, plus, if in time they don't go bankrupt again, we not only get to keep giving them the 3.2, but we also get to give them another $4.7 billion of your money. Plus, we get an 8% share as the taxpayers. Wait a minute, they got a 55%, the unions. You get 8% in a car company that's been making crap boxes, I think, since 1955. Congratulations. You own a piece of crap company. Oh, and by the way, one other thing. You also, well, not you. When I say you, I mean somebody more like Harry Reid, who always keeps his promises. Chuck Schumer. They get to pick 4 out of the 9 directors. So, on the board of directors, we pick 4 of them. Our Congress, they pick 4 of the directors. The unions pick another one of the directors. Oh, and Canada gets to pick one too. Congratulations, huh? Isn't that a fantastic deal? Art Laffer is here. He was an economic advisor to President Reagan, author of Special Introduction to the book President Ronald Reagan's Initial Actions Project. Art, what is happening? How could we possibly get this deal and this not be the lead story everywhere?
It's amazing. I don't know how they have the effrontery to put that sort of deal together. And then you look at the lenders, the secured lenders, and they get very little out of this. It's obviously extreme favoritism towards the unions, and, I don't know why they would do this, to be honest with you. They just shouldn't. It's wrong. It's not good for America.
Tell me this, Art. Help me out.
Yes.
Here's what Canada got. 2% equity in Chrysler. We only got, what was it? We got 8%. Canada got 2%, yes, plus a commitment by the company to keep 20% of its production in Canada and the right to appoint 1 director. So we have, 5 directors? 6 directors out of the 9 are going to be run, yes, by 2 governments and a union. Do any of these people have any experience running anything in the free market system?
No, they don't. Canada was also required to put in a little money as well. But I mean, it's amazing. A little. It was all Canadian dollars, so it's less than it looks like.
It was $1.4 billion.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And, but you look at that, I mean, and then you look at what these current shareholders get, what the current secured lenders get, and it makes no sense at all, Glenn. It's just, it's what you say, it's favoritism towards the unions, and I don't see why these people would do that. It makes no sense to
Art, there's something wrong. There is something wrong here. This isn't like, this is a crazy bad deal. There's something wrong. Well, what is the name of this company? Cerebus?
Cerebus, yes. Cerebus.
Okay. Get this. You help explain this to me.
They get nothing, and nothing. Yes.
They held $500 million in second lien debt. That means they're second in line. They're before the unions. They're before everybody, right?
Yes.
$500 million. They had 81% of this company. And they owned the Chrysler headquarters in Auburn Hills. Okay?
Yes.
That's what they had.
That's correct.
This is what they did. They waived all $500 million. They got nothing for the $500 million. They gave up all of their equity stake, and they transferred the headquarters to the new Chrysler for zero. What did they get in return? Zero.
Nothing.
What? That doesn't make sense. No business in America does that. Nobody does that. What happened?
No one does that. Well, I don't know that have they agreed to this already? Has Cerberus agreed to this?
This is what
I don't know how they could do that.
This is what they get in the restructuring.
If the government's restructuring succeeds.
Yes.
Now, can't these people always take it into bankruptcy court if they wish to?
From what I understand, Art, they are looking at a system. Well, let me give you the exact quote. This comes from two people that don't want to be named. Sources who represent creditors to Chrysler say they were taken aback by the hardball tactics of the Obama administration employed to cajole them into acquiescing on plans to restructure Chrysler. One person described the administration as the most shocking ends justify the means group they have ever encountered. Another characterized Obama as, quote, the most dangerous smooth talker on the planet, and I knew Kissinger, end quote. Both voted for Obama. I mean,
amazing. Well, this is clearly in violation of all the fiduciary interests that Cerberus would have for its investors. It would be clearly in violation of the fiduciary interests for the bondholders, the secured bondholders in Chrysler. I don't see how they could get away with doing this in a system of law and justice here. We have bankruptcy courts to handle this type of problem, and I don't know how they can get away with this.
You know what? I have a feeling they're going to get away with it, Art. There is something dramatically wrong. I don't know what the hell is going on here, but something is not right. It stinks to high heaven.
It not only stinks to high heaven, it's clear that we don't have transparency in what actually went on in those meetings. No. I would love to see a video transcript of those meetings. What was actually said, because you can't do that. If it were your money, Glenn, you wouldn't let it go for nothing.
Can I tell you something?
Why would Cerberus let that?
I know people in the financial industry. They won't even sign a piece of paper. They have taken all of the pens out of their desks. They don't have a pen. They don't want a pen. They will not sign anything because they're all saying, we're being set up. We are being set up. Things fail, they'll pin it on us. I ain't doing anything. They're all standing there. The whole thing's going to burn down because they're all just standing there because they know they're the enemy. Government's never going to leave their fingerprints on it. They'll blame somebody else.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, they'll try to not leave their fingerprints on it, but I mean, what are they going to do to these people, Glenn? I mean, it's amazing. Bankruptcy court is supposed to handle a company when it goes into bankruptcy and be just and fair and allocate the resources to the people who were owed the money. And that's not what's going on here. And I don't know of any transparency. It's the antithesis of what you and I believe in.
I appreciate it, Art. We'll talk to you again. America, they have organizations like Acorn, who will bust people out to people's houses and make them into bad people, and the media will cover it. You're not getting the truth anywhere. Let me go to Michelle Malkin here. Michelle, first of all, am I wrong on any of this stuff? Where can you fill in some of the blanks?
Well, no, you're absolutely right that we have to start looking at Barack Obama as the community organizer-in-chief and look at the culture and the climate that he was bred in, and look at the tactics of groups like Acorn and see how they're being translated into what you call this governmental power grab. And just to add